What's up, HyperFast Nation? On this episode of the show, we are looking at the top seven mistakes that real estate agents make during negotiations. Stand by for the next episode of the HyperFast Show. All right. Welcome back to the show. Thank you for tuning in. As always, you are getting value out of these episodes. Please hop on over and leave us a review on iTunes, or if you're watching on YouTube, leave us a comment. Make sure you hit the subscribe button no matter what platform you are listening on. Today, we're talking about a topic that many real estate agents can benefit from. I mean, all real estate agents can benefit from, and many of you might not have had as much practice as normal in the topics we're talking about today. That's specifically the mistakes to avoid while negotiating, right? Many of you might have had less deal flow in the last year or so. And then if you go back to 2 or 3 years ago, you might have had more deal flow, but less opportunities to negotiate because of what the market was doing. So in no particular order, here are the top 7 mistakes to avoid as a real estate agent. Number one, right? The number one mistake is failing to prepare thoroughly. All right, before you go into negotiating a deal, whether you're on the buy side, the sell side, you really need to understand the property. You need to understand the market, market conditions. You need to know the comps, right? You need to know just all your basic data, right? Make sure you know your stuff before you start negotiating, right? And it's not necessarily just as simple as looking at what has sold, what was expired, what's active, right? Really know the neighborhood, right? Does being on this side of the street make a difference? A lot of times, one street over can be the difference in school zones, right? In noise from a nearby highway, views, all of this stuff, right? So, you really need to know on a street by street basis. You need to know your location and your value and just all of the data, right? So make sure you prepare thoroughly. All right, number 2 mistake to avoid is being too focused on price. All right, price is just one element of negotiation, right? You often hear price and terms, right? Do you really know the terms of the contracts, all of the contingencies? We've got a Master the Buyer Game series of videos and courses that we've put out, which you should go back and look if you've never seen that 9-part series, Master the Buyer Game. But a big part of it is the 12 decisions, right? We walk buyers through in our process the 12 decisions to make before they submit an offer. And these are 12 decisions that are things other than price, right? So it can be the home inspection contingency, appraisal contingency, how much earnest money, like when do they close, right? All these other things, these non-financial parts of an offer, they all have an impact on price. So make sure you're not negotiating on price alone. All right, number 3 mistake to avoid is letting emotions take over. All right, one way to cure for this is to really make sure you are doing your daily prospecting and follow-up activities so that you are not too dependent on, just one deal. Right? I think when that happens, it's easier to get emotional about it. So you really have to guard against becoming so dependent on the deal that you get emotionally attached to the result. So really guard your emotions, stay calm, stay professional. Even if the other agent is difficult to work with, even if one of the parties, is difficult to work with, you just got to keep your calm. All right, number 4, fourth mistake to avoid when negotiating is, not listening to the other party, right? They are going to give you clues. All right. In fact, they may outright tell you, what is important to them. And it may be more than price. It may be timing. It may be rent back. It may be contingencies. Right. So you really need to ask good questions to the other agent and listen, and do some um, basic questions and background checks and just things that will give you clues to what the other party wants. All right, number 5. This one is a big one. Really, this is the one I think so far that really can kill deals, and that is failing to set proper expectations with your clients, right? And a lot of times this comes from the desire to not tell them something they don't want to hear. All right, many times they don't want to hear that they're not going to be able to negotiate 10% or 20% off the price. And agents will kind of go along with it sometimes, right? You need to set proper expectations. Use data to do this, right? So if they're thinking they're going to get 10% off on a deal, don't necessarily tell them, well, you won't, right? What you want to do is pull all the sold comps that are similar and show them like, hey, they were going an average of 95.5% of list price. The highest one went for 98%, the lowest one went for 94.5. So I understand you want to get 90, you want 10% off, 90% of list price, but the market average is here, and the best case was 4.5 percentage points higher than that. So I want you to get that, but this is what the market's telling us is going to happen. With that being said, if you had to pay in the range that the market was, saying, is that something that you'll be happy with, and will the deal still work for you, right? So just take that extra step ahead of time to use market data to set proper expectations before you even go in to the negotiations. If you don't do that, you're setting yourself up to be opposing them at some point and not on their side, and for them to get unhappy, and it's just going to spiral out of control. Very low chance of getting the deal done, and you might even lose them as clients. All right, number 6, ask for commitments, right? Or not asking for commitments, I should say, is one of the mistakes that real estate agents make, right? There will be some point in the deal where you need to get a commitment from either your clients or the people you're negotiating with, that if X happens, you'll be able to get the deal done, right? So like commitment when you're representing your buyers would be like, hey, if they get down to X price with these terms, is that something that you would be comfortable moving forward with? Now, obviously, you're going to try to negotiate better than that, but you at least want some, base number from them, minimum commitment level from them, that if X happens, they will, go ahead with the deal. Same thing on the other side, right? If you're, talking to a listing agent or buyer's agent, right? The other party's agent. One way to do this is like, hey, if I can get my clients to this price, up or down, right? Depending on which side you're on. Do you see a deal happening at that level? So just ask for that commitment. Throughout the process, right? On both sides, there's opportunities to do that, and a lot of agents never do that. And then, they'll go ask something from their clients to get a deal done, and then the other side says no. And again, that will kill deals, kill momentum, and potentially lose you clients as well. All right, number 7, our seventh and last mistake that real estate agents make during negotiations is overplaying your hand, right? You see this in both types of markets, right? In sellers markets, you'll see this, on the listing side, right? Where, you think you're going to get X amount over list price or get every contingency waived, and maybe it falls a little short and you overplay your hand. and then coincidentally, when you're in buyers markets, you'll see it on the buy side, where things are finally negotiating a little bit, right? And you no longer have to, and you're particularly seeing this right now, right? You no longer have to bid and go over, have multiple offer situations. Well, now, maybe they're selling for 96, 97% of list price, but, your buyers, think they're going to get 90% either because of misinformation or you set the wrong expectations. And then, you come in too low and then nothing happens and boom, deal's dead, right? So you overplayed your hand. So don't make that mistake, and don't make any of these mistakes, by the way. And hopefully you guys got a ton of value out of this podcast. I do want to mention quickly that Keri Shull and I are looking for more partners at eXp Realty. If you want to learn more about partnering with us at eXp and taking advantage of the coaching and the masterminds we've created for our group there, while getting all of the benefits that you get at eXp Realty, right? The low commission cap, stock awards, revenue share, the technology, all of the tools, right? If you want to learn more about what it's like to partner with us there and really build a business that can give you true freedom, we want to have that conversation with you. All you need to do is text me at 703-638-4393. Yes, that is my real cell phone, 703-638-4393. Send me a text message and I will get back to you. We'll have a short conversation and, see if it's a good fit and then have more conversations from there if it is. All right. Well, thank you for tuning in to this episode of the HyperFast Show. As always, please leave us a review if you got some value out of this. Give us comments, feedback. We love that. And I will see you next time.